Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Man, another beautiful day. Whew. Quick look. All right. Nothing like seeing the sun shining beautifully in the sky. Man, it is a winter day and it's chilly, so so I'm gonna try and make this as quick as possible. No, seriously. Man, it's a beautiful day. Thank you all for helping to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. We are changing this world all together. True indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Check me out on all the streaming platforms. My album PLR New Paradigm, right? Please make sure you check out my Twitter feed. And when you go to the channel, make sure you stop in and check out community and important information there. All right. Man, thank you all. We were recently convened on the really important video. Paula Robinson, and we covered a lot of information on that video. This video, we'll call it the tie-in because sort of tie all this, right? I say tie together. What are you tying together, Big King? Well, I want to tie together some of the information from earlier videos, right? With this last video's information. Now, you'll remember where I talked about the power structures in the world, right? And the socioeconomic elite, organization, fraternities, and whatnot. These groups that control these power structures, and the motive they have in place, right? First of all, I did use the word fraternities because in many instances they are that, and in some instances literally that, right? And you'll find groupings and allegiances based on keeping the old paradigm directives in place, right? As to feed their agenda of maintaining control and dominance on the planet for the social economic elite. Well, let's talk a little bit about this. Now, I talked in previous videos about these elite folks. Again, we're not talking about like millionaires, right? You know, there's a lot of millionaires, and let there be more, right? Let's all have abundance, because at that level of influence, we can generally be comfortable. I'm talking about multi-billionaires and trillionaires, right? The truly socially economic elite. Because at that level, folks, it's not really about money anymore, right? Their desire for money is far overshadowed by their desire and their lust for power, right? And control. And if you look at what they do with that control, right, that really causes you to focus in again on motive. Well, we see where they've steered the world. Quite obviously, they've steered the world in many different ways to ruin. Again, we talked about the old paradigm of misery, pain, and hate, right? Where we wake up every day essentially, you know, with the thought in mind of what's the next bad thing to happen, right? Where you wake up living in fear all the time in this fear society of so many different things, right? we know the negative aspects, the numerous negative aspects of the old paradigm and how they play out in our lives, and again in every institution that touches our everyday lives. So this is what the socioeconomic elite have done with the world by instilling these finite systems that they will breed socially economic conditions that they know will breed these living conditions on the planet, right? Not to mention the purposeful mechanisms of keeping their agendas in place, right? That they use, like social engineering and whatnot. So, if the real motive at that level isn't just money, right? Because again, you're talking about people in many instances who have more money than you can fathom to spend in any lifetime, right? And if the motivation is power, and we see what they've done with that power, why? You know, why haven't these socially economic elite really actually done the good things that they profess through their talking pieces, their mouthpieces, their puppets, the folks that get out and represent them and talk to you so glowingly in the media, and who constantly push you toward doing business with their corporate interests and whatnot, and making sure that their coffers stay full, so to speak, stay filled, so to speak. Why haven't these folks really created more of a utopian society? I mean, think about it. These are people who have every material gain, every material possession that they could dream of, and that anyone could dream of, right? So if that's what life is all about, like they preach to you about material gain, then they should be just about the happiest skip to Baloo people that you could come across, right? But instead, and you would think that people who are so happy would create a world where everyone's happy, right? But that's not what we see. Again, we see a world filled with finite systems that create scarcity, right? That create low vibrational frequency, negative forms of control, and that create living conditions that are designed to bring out the worst in people, right? So instead of them creating systems that would bring out and inspire the best in our civilization, they have done quite the opposite and created a paradigm that is designed to bring out the worst in people, the worst in our species, the worst in our society, right? Okay, so why? Isn't that peculiar, folks? Right? Like, why do you have these incredibly wealthy and powerful people conspiring to do such dastardly, nefarious, and dark things? Well, folks, that goes back toward motive. And this is where we start the tie-in. Because when we look further into the motive behind these individuals, these groups and organizations, we see, and we're given clues as to where their motives come from, right? We talked previously about how Masonic orders identified that they have these hidden masters that they serve, right? And we talked about the fact that those are essentially low vibrational frequency, dark entities, forces, however you want to speak of that, right? They're hidden, which refers to their dimensional nature. Many of these forces we're referring to are of a fourth dimensional nature, right? And we talked a little bit about breaking down, what these dark entities are, right? Many of them label them the cabal or